Hello everyone, it's Liz from West Star Tarot. Today I'm going to do day 8 and day 9 of Ethany's 31 Days of Tarot. So for day 8, we are to talk about tarot books that we read in 2019. And in searching out the books that I read in 2019, I came across a couple that I started but did not finish. And earlier, maybe a couple weeks ago, I did a video response to Laura over at Aquamarine 18. And Laura started or did a video talking about her tarot book Piles of Shame. And I really responded to that because I had a pretty big one. And sadly, in gathering my books together for this video, I found a couple more, which I will talk about at the end. But the first book I wanted to talk about was a book by Rachel Pollack, and this is the new Tarot Handbook. It's basically a book of meanings. She goes through each one of the majors and does a discussion of the majors, and then she does a spread. So for example, I just flipped open to the strength page, and so you can see there's the layout, and here are the positions. A reading for the strength card. How am I strong? How am I weak? When do I need to be strong? When do I need to be weak? What strengthens me? What weakens me? So what I really liked about this book was the fact that it did have the usual discussion about the meanings of the cards, but for the majors anyway, Rachel does put in a spread for each of the majors. And I found that that was a way to deepen my understanding and to get to know that card on a deeper level. So I really did enjoy that. The next book I want to talk about is Mindful Tarot by Lisa Frankel Tishman. And I don't know if any of you watch Lisa's videos on Mindful Tarot. I have been for several years now a great follower of her YouTube channel. She's so bright and has such interesting things to say about the tarot, oftentimes bringing in some mindfulness because she is a mindfulness teacher and practitioner. I loved this book. I really enjoyed it. I had the great pleasure this year of meeting Lisa at the Reader's Studio in New York City in April, where I bought a copy of this book. And then I'm happy to say I came home and I read it. Yay! One of the things I really liked about this book was Lisa tells a story in the beginning about a place on Cape Cod called the Four Seas, and it is this fabulous ice cream shop. That's all they sell is ice cream. And I have been there many, many times, and so I felt this connection to Lisa because of that. But what she talks about, here is my bookmark, my holiday card from my lovely partner. It's beginning to Wookiee lot like Christmas. Star Wars fans in this house. So the reason that Lisa even brings up the Four C's, and in this case it's S-E-A-S, but in the story about the ice cream place. But what she's talking about in the book are the Four C's, and these are things beginning with the letter C. So she thinks that we should be mindful about and bring into our practice care. So that's the first C. An attitude of turning toward and paying attention. Compassion. An attitude of responding. Cheer. An attitude of thankful joy. And calm. An attitude of balance and equanimity. And then she adds questions that we can ponder for each one of those C's. What if I greeted every moment with care and friendliness? What if I responded to the pain of others as if it were my own? What if I took cheer and found joy in each precious moment? And finally, what if I calmly accepted the good with the bad? I really love these 4 C's and the 4 questions. And these are things that I am continuing to think about and to try to improve upon in my attitude and actions as I go through life in general, but as I use my tarot cards and do spreads in particular. So I really loved that book. Thank you, Lisa, for writing such a wonderful book that really made me take pause and think and be mindful. Another book that I am putting in the red pile is Tarot for One. This is by Courtney Weber, and I've had this for several years. I wrote in the beginning October 2016, so that's when I came across this. And you can see I'm not quite done. So I thought I had finished this book, but as I was gathering my books together, I realized I have about 30 more pages or 40 more pages. So this is now going to go into my finished pile. I did enjoy that. This is The Art of Reading for Yourself, and I do read for others, but I also read for myself a lot. And I was really happy to hear Courtney's ideas about reading for yourself. And as she says, the art of reading for yourself. I did enjoy that book quite a bit. Another book that I came across and worked with this year, also bought at the Reader's Studio, was Ethony's Your Tarot Court. And I am ashamed to say I still have a few pages left to go in this one as well. I don't know what is with me in buying tarot books and not finishing them. At least the ones I put in this pile were either completely finished or like 90% finished. And then the last book I wanted to mention that I finished was a book by Stephen Bright, and it's Tarot, Your Personal Guide. A lovely hardcover book with color pictures of the cards. So I just flipped open to the Queen of Cups, and there's a page or two on each of the cards. And I like how Stephen did this. So in the minors, he talks a little bit about the card, and then so I flipped open here to the Four of Cups. So it's a little bit about the card itself, and then Four of Cups as a situation, Four of Cups as a person, and Four of Cups and you. So it's nice how he breaks that down. And he does the same thing with the court cards. So this was a book that I found really easy to read, and I buzzed right through it, and I really enjoyed it. A couple other books that I came across as I was looking to add some books to my pile for this prompt is Jamie Elford's Tarot Inspired Life. This book I also bought at Reader's Studio last year. And this is a great book, and I don't know why I stopped reading it. Probably because I have so many books, and I have too many books, and I've really got to stop buying more books until I finish the ones I have. As I was looking through this book, I love it. It's got some wonderful things in it, and in the beginning, Jamie says, you know, if you're a beginner, start at the beginning and work your way through. If you're, moderate to advanced tarot reader, just go to whatever floats your boat and work on that. So this is a book I'm really looking forward to finishing. It has things about journaling, all different kinds of things. Getting spiritual, so seeking inner truths and higher truths. It's got spreads, it's got just oodles of information. So this is going to the top of my pile. And last, but certainly not least, a big giant book. This is by Sasha Graham, and it's a complete book of the Rider-Waite-Smith. And I started this book, I did not finish it, but I'm going to cut myself a little bit of slack because I'm really looking at this book more as a reference. I did start it and I got to about page 75, and then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to read this and use it as a reference book. I don't think it's necessarily a book to read from cover to cover. So those are my tarot books that I have read, and some I have not quite finished. And then for day 9, it is talking about a memorable reading that we had this year. So I did a reading the beginning of December for a client who came by. This was not someone that I had read for before. We were having an open house and she just stopped in. And she was telling me that she was having a difficult time. Her husband died several years previous, about 4 or 5 years previous, but she just was not finding herself able to kind of move beyond and to pick up the pieces and, you know, kind of get on with her life. And so I picked out a spread to do, and the spread that I chose to do was a spread that Kelly Fitzgerald talks about on her channel, and it's a 12-card spread. It's a diamond-shaped spread. It's a fabulous spread, and so I did this spread. There's one column of 3 tarot cards and then a column of 3 oracle cards that modify the tarot cards. And the positions are in the middle, the situation, and then the card below is the message that that needs to come in from to discuss the root of the situation, and then the top card is the message that needs to come in from Spirit to discuss the situation. And then in the corners we have the directions. And I attach those directions to the elements. So air would be the mind, south would be your spirit or your creativity, west would be your relationships or your emotions, and then north would be everyday practicalities, your home, your work, your physical body, and so forth. And then making the diamond on either end is incident in the past that needs to be brought forward and considered, and then the outcome or the near future. And so as I was doing this reading for this woman who is still mourning her husband, who passed away about 5 years ago or so, and just can't seem to get on with her life, I got a very, very clear message from her partner, from her husband. And I'm not a medium, and I don't often get messages. I have done not too many, but a few types of readings like this. But this was a really clear message from her deceased partner. And so I shared, I'm not going to talk about it here, but I shared with her what he had to say. And we made a plan moving forward of how she's going to incorporate that information and that message from her partner into her healing work. And I'm also going to be doing some healing work with her as we get on into the new year, now that the holidays are over. So that was a really powerful reading and a really memorable reading for me as a reader, because I just got this strong and clear and what I feel was a really helpful message for this woman to help her heal and move on from the death of her partner. And she was touched by it, and she is considering doing some more healing work. So that was my most memorable reading for someone else of the year. And I will be joining you all again tomorrow for day 10 of the 31 Days of Tarot. Ciao.